Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Very Dead Gaming. I'm Very Dead, and this is me playing Elite Dangerous today. We're doing, this is kind of the second part of Void Opal core mining. We just got a little bit of feedback coming through here. Okay. All right, so what I did yesterday was talk about all the different things you need on your ship and how to go about doing the core mining. Today, what I'm going to talk more about is how to find an ideal system that will have the ring systems that you need so that you have plenty of void opal cores and you don't spend all your time searching for them. One of the things about core mining is that the hotspots get depleted when other players mine them. Even if you're in solo, they get depleted. So if you're in a system where there are plenty of other players that are mining those hotspots, they will get depleted as you're in them. What you're looking for is find a system off the beaten path that's fairly easy for you to get to, but that nobody else knows about. And there are tons of them, because the way Elite Dangerous is built, there are billions of systems. The problem is you don't want to be so far away that it takes you an hour to get to and from the ring system. There are plenty of systems nearby where you can find a ton of icy rings, because that's what void opals, that's where they're found, the void opal cores. That nobody's been in those systems in over a week, and I think what happens is then the hotspots replenish and you have nothing but fresh cores, and you're getting one after another instead of having to go 10 minutes between a core. So that's what I'm going to show you today. A couple of things you need, and before we get started, let's just go ahead and crack this one open. I'm in a system, and you can see where it's at. It's call 285 sector VKM C8-4. Or maybe CB-4, I don't know. So this system I found after about just 5 minutes of looking in Inara and EDDB. Those are the two systems you're going to want to... Those are the two systems you're going to definitely... Or the two websites you're going to definitely want to use to find the ideal ring systems. And I'll get more into the details of that in just a couple of minutes after we crack this one open. I've been in this system, and let me just show you. I have 114 tons of void opals already, and I've just been finding these things one after another. So we're going to just switch to our Seismic Charges, and we're looking for a low strength fisher, and there's one right there. And I'll just show you what I'm going to do here. Is I'm just going to charge it up fully. You hold your button down and then fire it right to the middle of the fisher. All right. Now I'm going to look for another low strength fisher. Okay, there we go. And I am going to fire it again right to the middle here. I'm going to charge it fully. Full charge and let her go. Okay, so I'm a little bit shy. So now I'm going to look for a high strength fisher. All right, there we go. Found another one. This asteroid's really, it's cooperating with me. And what I'm going to do here is just, I'm not going to do a full strength charge because it'll put me over. So I'm going to do an average strength charge. So here, I'll show you. Let me just line this up a bit. And so it'll be right in the middle. I'll hold it till it's about halfway and let her go. And it puts me in the optimum yield range. So that's a good pattern that you want to, that's a good pattern that you want to recognize. 2 lows and a high. The 2 lows you always want to put at full strength, and the high strength at middle yield. All right, so now let me put my shields to max, and then we're going to detonate now. And I don't like to get too far away. You'll lose a ring of shields, but you won't take any damage. There. Okay. Put your cargo scoop out, and I'm going to get a little bit closer, and I'm going to start deploying my limpets. And switch to your abrasion blaster as well. Limpets away. And these are your collector limpets, by the way. Alright, and now what you need to do is shoot these off. And this is just a recap of what I showed you guys yesterday. Very simple. What I try to do is not get inside of the cracked asteroid there. If I can hit these guys from the outside. What I've noticed is that limpets are stupid, and when you get too many little fragments of asteroids around you, they collide with them and explode. And so you waste a bunch of limpets. Oh, let me... couple of other things that I haven't really described, but you only have line of sight to them to shoot them when they're yellow or gold like that, and not a dotted outline. When they're a dotted outline, they're on the back side of the asteroid and you can't shoot them. All right, so let me... oh, there's one there. Yeah, oh, there's 3 more. Okay, so I'm gonna try not to get in there. Stay on the outside. Okay, oh, getting a little close to a limpet or something. Okay. And did you see how it went dotted? That means it's kind of like right on the edge. There it is. Alright, so I got them all out now. And now I'm kind of inside of the cracked asteroid. I want to get out of this. Because that's when you'll start losing limpets left and right. Or they'll collide with you. Okay. And then another quick recap. Let's take a look at... Alright, so I'm at to 123 tons. What you want is, obviously, as much cargo racks as you can fit in. In this crate Mark II, I can do 160 tons. Without I have to abandon my fuel scoop, so I replace that with. And then you want a decent distributor. You need a collector limpet controller. That's important. You need an abrasion blaster. You need a refinery. You need the prospector limpet controller, and you need a detailed surface scanner. I think that covers everything. All right, let me just quick. I have to empty out some cargo here. So we're going to jettison some limpets. Don't be afraid to drop your limpets. 19 is plenty enough for me to fill my cargo hold. And then there's one more void opal here, and I think I'm just too far away from it. Just a little. Where is it? As I get closer, one of my limpets. Oh, what? I'm kind of right in the middle here. One of my limpets will go get it. I was just a little too far away. All right, so I'm just gonna wait for this, and then I'm gonna bring up a couple of these websites that I talked about. Okay, so cargo scoop in. I've been in this system for, I don't know, about an hour and 15 minutes. And I already have 126 tons. So that's about 250 million in pure profit. 250 million. That's what I said. 250 million credits in one mining run. That's the kind of credits you can make doing this. And if you get good at it, which I'd say I'm still mediocre at it. I'm not great yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting faster. I'm able to find good systems better and get to and from to sell my cargo quickly and get back out there. And the great thing about it is it's a great way to grab a bunch of credits without having to sink into doing. In order to make 250 million, I'd have to do over 100, maybe 150 missions off the mission board, which is crazy. And they're all different, and they're all different systems, and that's great. But sometimes you just want to do one thing and make a ton of money, and then you can get back to doing some other stuff without having to make the money. And it's a great way to kind of replenish your credit stores so that you can go do some other stuff, and always make sure you have rebuys and all that stuff available. So let me pull up Inara and Elite Dangerous database. So here's Inara. Let me pull that up so I can see it too. So what we have is you're gonna want to have 2 pages up. Basically your commodities page, which is, if you can see the URL, it's right here, galaxy-commodity. You want to go to this page, then you're going to search for void opals, and then you just plug in whatever system you want to look for. And this is for the best selling price. So you always want to make sure that you know where they're paying the maximum amount. Like this LHS 449 Harry Station, and it has large landing pads, very close to the star, and it's only 41 light years away from my current system. So you plug in your current system, and then what it'll do is it'll show you the buy, and it'll show nothing. Don't panic. Go over to the best selling price. And if you see the selling price, you can see what's close to you. So there's a place 6 light years away from the system that I was in when I did the search, selling for 1.2 million credits per ton. But I want the best selling price, and I'm willing to fly. That's just 2 jumps for me, so I'm definitely willing to take the extra jump to get that extra bit of credits per ton. The next thing you want to do in Inara, this tells you who's buying and selling for the best prices, because you want to know that. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to go, well, we'll get to this in a second. You want to go to your body search at Elite Dangerous Database. So it's eddb.io. And what you're going to do is in the ring type, you're going to put Icy. It doesn't matter what the reserve type is. Cores don't seem to care if it's pristine or depleted. You get the same amount of cores. What really matters is that it has a void opal hotspot when you get there, and that nobody else has been in that system mining that hotspot. And the next thing you do is then you'll put in your reference system. Now, this is key. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but let's just go through the mechanics here first. So Icy Ring, you put a reference system in, and then it's going to find bodies that are close to that reference system. And then you're looking for, this is personal preference, but a couple of things that you should always look for is that it has multiple rings. So this system, it has 4 different rings that are icy, and they're all pristine, and they're all pretty close to the star. So that's a good candidate. Now, the next thing you do, excuse me, the next thing you do is once you find a system that looks good, and this one looks good, it's not populated, it's close to the reference system, and now we're going to go back to Inara. And we plug in that system. Okay, so in EDDB, it's call 285 sector VKM C8-4. You copy that, Control C. You're going to go over here, and you're just going to paste it in and click search. And this is great. Oh, And this is Galaxy Star System at Inara. So what you do is you hit Galaxy, and then you click on Systems and Stations, and you go to Star Systems. And it'll allow you, this gives you good information on the traffic in that system in the last 24 hours. And you want something that says 0 to 5 ships in the last 24 hours. Very important. If it shows a lot of traffic, do not go to that system. It's being mined heavily, and you're not going to find any cores. In fact, all the void opal stuff is going to be depleted. So what you're hearing explode there is those are my limpets. Excuse me, I'm choking a little bit. I'm going to have a little drink. Let me just mute my microphone so you don't hear that. Thank you for bearing with me with that. Okay, so back to what I was saying, 0 to 5 ships. It's unpopulated, and this has unknown security. So now I know, okay, this is a good candidate. It's close to my reference system. It's got more than one icy ring, and it's got no traffic. So I'm going to go. Now, the other key thing, we're going to just, I'm going to hide this. We're going to go back to Elite Dangerous, and I want you to see, we're going to go to the galaxy map. How I found the system. So I zoom out a little bit. Okay, so here's the bubble. And you don't want to go too far from the bubble, obviously, because if you go too far, you end up with too long of a distance to get to the system that is going to buy for the best price. Now, I'm willing to jump 5 or 6 times, and that seems to be reasonable, especially if your ship can jump over 40 light years. And your mining ship, if you're going to use this technique, should be able to jump 40 light years per jump. And it should have a decent fuel tank so that you can do 6 jumps and not run out of fuel, because you're not going to have a fuel scoop. So what you do is what I did was then I looked for a system that was unpopulated, but that was out of the bubble. It's just slightly out of the bubble. And you're just going to click on that system. And for me, it was, here, let me find it. I'll show you exactly what I did. Go back to EDDB. My reference system that I used was Gliese 9410. So let me just plug that in. So I went Gliese 9410. And it should be really close to where I'm at. Okay, so there it is. It's 1 jump away. I went and I selected it, and the reason I selected it was because I wanted to see how many jumps it would take me to get from the bubble to here, and it was 6 jumps. So it was kind of in that sweet spot. Then what I did, because it's not out of the bubble, but it's kind of on the fringes of the bubble, I knew I was going to be almost out of fuel when I got there. So I looked for a system, and I went, let me bring back up EDDB. I looked for a system that, I looked for a system close to this call sector. I found this place. So I went to that Gliese. Oh, here. I need to go back a step. So I went to the Gliese 9410. I'll do it again. So I use that as the reference system. Right, Gliese 9410. And I searched for Icy Rings. And on the first page, it popped up, call 285 sector VKM C84. Then I opened another, I looked at EDDB, it's the stations tab. And what I did was I looked to find, I plugged in that call 285 sector VKM, because that's the system with the Icy Rings I want. And then I looked for the nearest station that had a refuel. And within 7 light years of my target system, there's at 485 light seconds, there's a little station that I could refuel. So that's what I did. I refueled. So I jumped here to HR 4680. I refueled my ship, and then I did the one short little jump of 7 light years, which used no fuel, to call 285 sector VKM. And I know that in planet 2, their A ring is icy, so that's where I went. And then I did like I did yesterday. I scanned the ring, and void opal hotspots, 2 of them popped up, so I knew I was in business, and that's where I went from there. So that was the rationale behind doing it, and that's how I found the system. And that's how you will always look on the fringes of the bubble, about 6 jumps out, so 120, 150 light years away from kind of the center of the bubble, so you're out toward the edges, and then look for unpopulated systems that have icy rings, that don't have a lot of traffic, using EDDB and Inara. And I know this sounds really complicated, but if you do it once, it's like, oh, that's pretty easy. And look, I found a great system right away that nobody's been to probably ever, mining void opals. And so what I did was, in an hour and 15 minutes, I mined 126 void opal tons, and I'm gonna look for maybe one more. So, and then I'm gonna go sell it. So that's how you do it. Oh, I'm gonna hit this. And okay, so I selected the run through. So let's go back to the void opal hotspot. We'll target that and find the runway. And the mechanics here are also always the same. You're gonna hold down your pulse wave scanner. You're gonna hold that down and just start looking for really, really bright asteroids. And they have to be like insanely bright, above normal. And then what happens is they have to change colors. They have to get weird on you. Like, they'll have a really black grid, and then they'll turn red. So like, this one has a black grid, but it has no colors. So as I get closer, see, it kind of fades, and it's not, it has to stay dark. And don't even waste any time on them. They're not what you're looking for. You're going to keep boosting, because you want to move as quickly as possible through the ring. The asteroids with course. All right, so this one down here looks really good right away. It caught my eye. And look at that. See how that black on there, the black grid? And as I get closer, watch, it'll change colors. And look, it's got kind of a greenish black hue to it. And look at how dark it gets. All right, no, that changed on me. I bet this is low temperature diamonds. It's not going to be you can see it has a core. See the fissures? Here, I'll jump a prospector. This will probably be low temperature diamonds. I could be wrong. Oh, it's void opals. There you go. So my instincts were correct, and then I second guessed them. But that's why you always check, because you may get it wrong. All right, so now I'm looking for a low strength fissure. There it is. And we're going to switch to our seismic charges. Oh! That wasn't cool. That hurt. Gonna leave a mark. Let me get a little closer. Hey, Major Fish. Welcome back. I am talking about finding ideal systems, the easy way to find them. All right, so here I'm just gonna. There's one. Let's look for another. There's another low strength right there. And that's the other thing. There's a pattern to these. If you can find two low strength fissures, you're going to go full strength on both of those, or full yield for your charge. There we go. And now I'm looking for a high strength. A high strength fissure. There's one. All right, there's one right here. And you're going to do a medium yield. And that'll always put you in the detonation yield ideal, the kind of the ideal optimum range, so that you get the most void opals and you don't destroy any, and you're guaranteed to crack the thing. All right, so here we go. So now I'm going to go medium yield on this. So mid strength right there. And look, optimum range. So I'm just going to back off just a little bit. Glitchy game. You get those micro stutters. All right, so shields to maximum, and now I'm gonna just detonate this sucker. All right. Oh, too close. This is gonna hurt. Luckily my shields are to the max. There it comes. Took a ring down. All right. So we cracked her open. Or him, I don't know. It might be a male rock. Might be, I don't know. Could be anything. Alright, so now I'm going to switch to my abrasion blaster. I'm going to back off just a little bit. And I'm going to send my collector limpets out. Alright, there we go. And now, just going to find an angle where I can hit these things from out here. If you can get good at, what you want to do is become proficient at just flying around the outside. Oh, boy, this one is really surrounded tightly by, well, I cannot see them. These are all on the outside. There we go. Now I see some. And that's why you need shields. I'm taking damage from my limpets. They're crashing into me, bringing my shields down. What I'm doing is void opal core mining, and these are the void opals. I just cracked the asteroid open, and now I'm shooting off the void opals from the surface, so that my limpets can collect them. And they're worth about 1.6 million each, so you don't want to leave any behind. Alright, one more I think is right here. Hey, welcome, Cogsy. By the way, thanks for the question. Okay. So there it goes. I think that's all of them. Yeah, very good. And I'm just going to put another... limpet out. And, okay, so I'm at 140 tons. That's a pretty good haul. That's going to put me... Yeah, see, major. I'm telling you. If you want to make money fast, that's the way to do it. I'm telling you, the Mark II, it's my favorite mining ship. It's not the biggest, but to me, it's got a great cargo capacity, and it's not too expensive, and you don't have to do a lot of engineering on it for it to be effective. Where a couple of the other ones, they kind of require a lot of engineering. All right, so 2 more void opals, and then I'm gonna head back and sell this and see what we can get for it. Oh, well, welcome to Elite Dangerous, Cogsy. I hope that you stick around and give it some time. It's a steep learning curve, but once you learn how to do things in this game, it's endless fun. It really is. Okay, so I have
Cargo scoop retracted.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look for one more because that'll put me very close to my maximum. And what I was talking about was how to find a system, right? You know, where you're guaranteed to find a ton of void opals quickly, and they're not going to be depleted. And the two systems that are your friends, or the two websites, are Inara.cz and eddb.io. Okay, this looks like another good candidate. That's very quickly I found another one. Yep, this is going to be another void opal core, and I boosted twice. And yeah, see how it gets? It's really bright. It has red highlights, and then it turns like really black. That's a void opal core right there for you. They can look different, and it can be easy to be fooled. But this is definitely void opals. And I used my, yeah, there you go. I used my method to find a great system in order to mine these. And I used Inara.cz. I used Elite Dangerous Database, so eddb.io. And that helped me narrow down a candidate system after I determined that it was a low traffic system, and it's way out in the it's about 6 jumps out of the center of the bubble. So for my ship,
Detonation sequence initiated.
Well, it's not just that they're orange. They have to be extremely bright, and then they change. So what happens is you have to hit that pulse wave scanner multiple times on it. What happens is as you approach it, it'll be really bright, and then after the pulse wave starts to fade, it'll get a really dark black grid across it, and then it will then turn red. I know, it's a lot to remember. All right, so here we have another fisher. Let me go full strength here. Oh, kind of losing my angle. There we go. Good. All right, and we're in optimum yield range, so I'm just going to back off and crack this sucker. So again, you always want to go for the 2 low strength fishers and do a maximum yield charge, because you have a chance of cracking it with 2. And it just saves you time. All right. Shields to maximum, because if you don't, you're going to take some damage from the detonation. And kind of knock my shields senseless. Alright, man. Alright, there go my limpets, and I'm going to put the other guys out there. Alright, and now this one cracked open a little bit better. I don't have to fly around so much, so I'm just shooting all those void opals right off the surface. And this one has a lot of them. Don't miss that guy. Oh, there's a guy right there. And those are my limpets. Those are your little robots coming to pick up all the ore for you. Okay, hang on, I dump some limpets here. Alright, so I'm at... There we go, I've got 4 left. I think this is going to be the last asteroid. But this field, if you want to come out here, nobody's out here. And I'm the only one that's been mining it, and I'm done for the day. And there are 4 planets with rings out here. And I only hit the first one, and there's another hotspot that I haven't even touched. Exploration is great, and it's more profitable, but if you want to make a lot of money quick, this is the way to do it. And there's a learning curve here. It takes some skill, so you'll be frustrated at first. You'll feel like you're not understanding what's going on, and you're not going to be able to find them quickly. I know the first 2 runs I didn't find any cores, and I went through all of my limpets. So 160 limpets. So it was a very see, you don't. That's another. It's another. All right, so I'm at 157. Oh, here, let me. I just have to abandon my rest of my limpets. Oh, let me see. Where are you hiding? There you are. What you want to do is... Here, I'll bring up Inara again so you can see. Alright, so I have a full 160 tons. So here, let me just bring up Inara so I can show you. This is how you can tell. Alright, so this is the website. So here's Inara. When you do your best... You go here and you look up... It's basically... Get that URL. It's... galaxy-commodity at inara.cz. You go to that page, and you're going to search in here for void opals, and then you plug in near your star system. And what it'll do is it'll give you the closest stations with the best selling price. But you're not interested in that. What you're interested in is the best selling price. And then what you look at is, when was it last updated? So this one was updated 23 minutes ago. And it's about 41 light years from where I did my search from. So that's where I decided I'm going to go to. Now, what you look for is how soon it was, or how recently it's been updated. If it's been updated really recently and it's still a high price, chances are it's when you get there, it will be still a high price. If it was 2 hours ago or 7 hours ago, chances are it's not selling for that anymore, and it's probably way depleted. So what you want to do is find the one that's the freshest at the highest price, and you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to be able to sell at the right price. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that LHS 449 because I don't want to lose it. But what I will do is I'm going to plug in my current system. So, so my current system is at call 285 sector VKM. So, just quick. So, 285 sector okay and which one was it? C84. Okay, so I just plug that in and I'm gonna search, and now go to selling, and I'm gonna sort by selling price. And so nothing nearby me is selling for a very good price. It's 766,000. So but if I go to the best selling price and I sort by price, so I have, this one is way far away from me, far sight, I'm not going there. But this one's only 76 light years away from me. It was updated 17 minutes ago. And it's not really far to fly to. It's got a medium post, so that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to sell them right there. And that's actually much closer than the other base, that LHS 44. And actually, it's not even on here. So it's not selling. Yeah. It has dropped off the top list. So again, it's always good to check before you go. So now I'm going to go to Gangyun. And that's, so I'm just put that in my galaxy map. And it's a few jumps away, but I can make it. And I don't need to refuel. Oh, really? Okay, so at Gangyun, or are you mining in the system that I was in just now? So now we have to get out of here. And so, oh, that's really, really funny. So you were like one of the only people out here. And that's, oh, sorry. Yeah, I always forget to do that. There we go. It'll come back up here shortly. Okay, so now I'm just gonna head out to. I have 3 jumps, and I'll be in Gangyun. And where I want to go is, what's this? It's Apple Outpost. All right, not bad. And that basically covers, between the last 2 days of my streaming, all the ins and outs of core mining. It's a little daunting at first because there's a lot to remember, but it's not that hard. Once you get out there and actually do it, you'll start to figure out that it's safe to ignore anything but those asteroids that, like the one that I showed you, the super bright with a black grid and then it changes red, or it gets really, really dark. And the way you can tell a fake, when you get, some of them will look almost exactly like that, but when you get close to them, they get really dim. And that's how you can tell they're a fake. Oh, you know what? I went and looked up Federation rank, how I did it. And believe it or not, I did skimmer missions for the Federation. I went and just shot skimmers. And because once I was allied, I was getting those +6 reputation missions. And that's how I did it. Now, they've nerfed skimmer missions, so you can't stack them. And, I mean, there's a couple of other problems with it, but I also think passenger missions, that's how I did my Empire rank. I would just run passengers, and I can't remember what system I did it in, but there were a couple of Empire factions that gave out the bulk passenger missions and tons of rep, and I would run them back and forth for hours, and I made a ton of money, and it maxed out my rank in like 2 gaming sessions. So now I was already pretty high ranked to begin with. When I did them, I just did it to finish them off. But if you're starting at the bottom, you will rip through those bottom ranks quickly. All right. So I'm going to go to Apple Outpost, or Opal Outpost, I guess. Well, what I do like about the current condition of Elite Dangerous is you now have options. You don't. This is another thing you might want to try. I'm not sure if it works very well, but do core mining and maybe don't go for the full mass profit. Yeah, well, I think the most you'll ever get is like 2 to 3%, I think, for the +6. So it still takes a long time. But what you might want to try is go to a Federation controlled outpost or station and sell all of your commodities there and see if that gets you any rep. It might. See if that gets you a jump. It might be just a way to do it, you know, grind it out a little bit and still make a ton of money. Oh, here. Oh, and I also forgot. Always scan the system. It brings you extra millions of credits. Very easy. And I don't know if you're already elite in your trade rank, but you do 1 or 2 full cargo holds and you'll be elite. And that gets you better missions as well. Yeah, well, I mean, I would say anything close to where you're mining that is aligned with the Federation. And just make sure that the controlling faction, because that's who, when you sell to this commodities to a station, the controlling faction is the one that will give you your rank and award. So if they're not Federation, then you won't get any Federation rank. Just a thing. But it might be, so I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to make any sort of rank from doing that, but it might be worth a try to see. All right. So let me just quick dock. Oh, too far away. Go. Yeah, that's how I always approach it. It's always worth a try. You know, just do something new if people haven't talked about it, because there's a lot of different changes to the game that have not really been fully explored because of all the massive amounts of changes that have come out. So it's always worth a try. And you know what? If you figure out something before anybody else does, you know, do it to the max, because you never know if it's something that they're going to take out of the game or not, you know? All right, so here we are at the correct station. We're going to quick check the prices. Let me repair and refuel. I was smashing into a bunch of asteroids while out there. Alright, so now we're going to go to the commodities market. And it's in minerals, just so you know. That's what you're selling. And we're going to go void opals. And look at that! 1.6 million. Now we're going to sell. Alright, let's see how much money I can make. Alright. 265 million credits. That is awesome. I mean, that's one run, and you could go from having basically no credits. You know, you probably have a few. You probably would have like 100 million or so if you had a ship like this, to being able to buy basically any ship in the game with one. So I'm going to just sell that. Excellent. And you can see I have 1.5 billion credits. Not bad for a day's work. And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. Was I'm going to actually go back and recap what I did on Inara. I'm going to show you the whole process start to finish. And maybe even I'll search for a system. So, all right. So I'm going to get out of this. And let me just take a look at the mission board and see if that gave me any sort of allied status with this controlling faction. And it doesn't look like it did. So I'm thinking maybe selling is not going to get you reputation, and these are all that's Federation, so but I don't know. All right, so let me get back to first galaxy map. This is how I always start searching for new systems. If I go to the galaxy map, you know, if I'm going to look for one that I'm going to mine. So I'm at Gangyun. And okay, so I'm already out on the fringe of the bubble. You can see that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go out this way. About A little bit farther. 6 jumps, maybe? Alright, so here, it's 120 light years. Or, how about this? Alright, there, 120 light years. I'm just going to mark that system. So that's called 285. Sector RZE. And what I'm going to do... Here, I'm going to take that... I'm just moving some windows around. Give me a second. So that I can see what I'm... Oh, this is driving me nuts. I have a new mouse and it's not letting me drag to my second screen. What's going on? Alright. I'm just reorganizing my screens. Bear with me here. Okay, now I'm just going to put that up on the screen for you guys to see. Alright, so what I'm looking for is I'm going to just... I'm looking for Icy Rings. And... I'm going to plug in... Here, I got to go down here. And it's call 285 sector RZ dash C 12-1. So you just put that in there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find all the Icy Ring systems that are near that fringe system out there. And it's still searching. Okay. And believe it or not, that system is, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 Icy Rings that are pristine. So, and just randomly, I found that. So I'm just going to mark that. And it is, now what I'm going to do, now this is the tricky part. It will determine whether I need a fuel scoop or not and how much cargo I can carry. So then what I'm going to do is I just take that system name. Okay. And I'm going to go to this screen and I'm going to paste the new system in there. And I'm going to see if there's any stations that I can refuel with that are nearby. And look at that. There is one jump away. I have a in CHA-CHING. So what I'm going to do is go back to my galaxy map in the game. So bring that back up. And now I'm going to look for CHA-CHING. And it's one jump away. And we're going to go there instead. And now when I exit, it's 5 jumps. So what I'm going to do is I'll do those 5 jumps. And then I'll refuel. Then I'm going to jump to that ring system of mine with a full tank of fuel. So I don't have to worry about running out of fuel while I'm on station there. I can mine away and not worry about it. And then if I feel like I don't have enough fuel to make the 5 jumps back, I just go back to CHA-CHING. I refuel. And then I look for a system nearby that is selling at the highest price, at the closest distance away. And that is basically how you do it. My crate is partially engineered. When I first started, it wasn't. And here, I'll show you what I've done is here, let me. So the modules, it's not fully engineered, but the frameshift drive is definitely, that's a grade 5. So I did the thrusters. I think they're dirty, but they're only grade. I don't know, grade 1 maybe. Yeah, so these are the thrusters are dirty drives, but I only did grade 1, gave me a little bit more. Yeah, sure, absolutely. I do engineering pretty much constantly. It's to me it's like a core mechanic of the game that if you want the best ships, if you want to, I don't know, kind of squeeze the most fun out of the game, you need to engineer. And engineering, it can be tedious, but if you do it a little bit at a time, which is what I've kind of adopted at this point, you will find that it's you have most of everything that you need all the time, and very rarely will you have to like go out and get something. And usually it'll only be a few use, so you won't have to spend hours. You'll be 5 short of a certain material, and then you can just go get 5 of them and be done with it. Where, you know, instead of having to grind out 60 materials that are, you know, grade 5 rare or something, ultra rare, what I find is that if I take the time kind of randomly when I'm playing to check for like high grade emissions for like the 5 systems I'll jump through, and I'll just check to see if there's high grade emissions in those. And if there are, I'll just stop what I was currently doing and go get them, because it's just a slight diversion. It takes just a few minutes, and then all of a sudden you have 30 more rare materials that you didn't have. And even though you're not planning on using them, now you have them. That's probably the best advice I could give you, is just constantly be gathering materials, whatever they are, and figure out the most efficient way to do it while you're doing whatever you're doing. I mean, I have another account right now that I'm way out exploring, but you know, I would say probably every 2,000 light years or so, I look for systems that have rare materials, and I'll land on some planets, and I'll just prospect. You know, I'll drive my rover around, get some rare materials, stock up on them for a few hours, then get back in my ship and be on my way. So always good to do. And that way, you know, I'm not going to be doing engineering in that account for weeks, but there's no reason not to stock up on materials, you know, and that's the raw materials. So and there's nothing else to do out there, you know, except scan systems, so you might as well. Okay, I engineered the frameshift drive. That's a grade 5. You know, increased range with the mass manager. Then the power distributor, I did charge enhanced, so that I always have lots of power to spare, so I can boost all the time. Oh, and I think maybe I did engine focused. I think that's what I did on this one. It was because you don't really need, when you're mining, you don't need a ton of shields and you don't need weapons, but you definitely need to be able to boost pretty much constantly when you're doing core mining. So I did engine focused on that, grade 5, obviously, with, I think I did stripped down, so super lightweight, and so that I could get a little bit more jump range. And I think that's it. That's all that's it. That's all I did. So it was pretty easy to engineer that. I had all the materials on hand anyway, so I went and did it. All right, engineering it will be. I'll plan on that for Tuesday. It'll take me a little bit of prep because there's a whole ton of information, and I don't want to miss anything key. So I'll prep that, and then Tuesday we'll get going on the engineering. Good suggestion. And really, with all the new players that have come into the game, and so many of the players that have even been playing for a long time and just never bother with engineering because it seems so daunting, I think a good recap of how to do what is in order. And I'll even talk about doing not only engineering, but I'll talk about the Guardian stuff, because you really should knuckle down and get some Guardian. If nothing else, you got to get the FSD booster. It's probably the most game-changing module that I've ever used. It changes everything, and it changes the behavior of all the ships. The other ships that you wouldn't think were long jumpers are now long jumpers. I have a Federal Corvette, but I put a grade 5 FSD booster in it, and now it jumps like 35 light years. And this thing is tanked and loaded with weapons. It's heavy, and I can jump around like nothing now. I can get around the system fairly conveniently. Yeah, well, you're probably pretty close to having enough money for the Anaconda right now. Probably a couple more runs. What I would say is max out your cargo to about 160 tons on that crate, and do 2 runs on that, and you've got 500 million credits. And that's about enough. 500 million is about enough to fully engineer one of those ships. But I mean, it's ridiculous how much it costs with all the A-rated modules and stuff. The Corvette, I mean, it's almost $1 billion to buy it, A-rate it, and then engineer it. It's about 1 billion credits. So, but remember, 4 full runs on that crate, and I figure you can probably comfortably do 1 run a day if you don't want to make it a marathon session. And you can do 250 million per gaming session. So in 4 gaming days, you have 1 billion credits. Just something to think about. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for today. I have on tap, thanks to Major Fish, we have engineering is going to be the focus of the next live stream coming up on Tuesday. Look for me between 9 and 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Sorry, guys. I will. I'm going to post that up in like a grid to see what the time zone differences are, so you don't have to go look it up. And if you like what you see and you haven't already yet, please subscribe my channel or like it, and or follow me. And we will, because I'm looking to really increase my followers, kind of make this more of a viable thing for me to do instead of just a hobby. So please join me next this coming Tuesday, and I will see you then. Thanks so much for watching. It's been a ton of fun. I love all the questions. Keep them coming, and I will see you next time.